That's kind of what it's been there at the Jets. You know, it barely won over 30% in the last 10 years. So, you know, the owner being the owner, just ready, fire, aim.
But, Bill, you mentioned, I mean, in '99, you were the DC for the Jets. Parcells was the head coach. He stepped down. You replaced him for a day before resigning. We have a recreation of your resignation letter that we can show here. You wrote, quote, "I resigned as HC of the NYJ," and you wrote it on a napkin. Bill, looking back, which is stranger, that you resigned on a napkin or that you couldn't be bothered to write out the words head coach?
I was tight on space. Hey, look, Peyton, I was the head coach of the Jets twice. I was the head coach before Parcells came there, and I was the head coach after Bill resigned. Undefeated, unscored on, all right? My career as a coach of the Jets, it's unblemished.
Whoa! Bill Belichick putting owners on blast. Wow. Just wow. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Bill Belichick blasting the Jets for being a bunch of losers. The Jets have been known to have one of the worst ownership groups in the entire NFL. Obviously, the New York Jets have been doing nothing but losing football games on a consistent basis since the 2010 NFL season. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So, here it is. Are you surprised that Bill Belichick blasted the Jets publicly? No, I'm not surprised Bill Belichick did that. We all know that Bill Belichick has had a strong hatred for the Jets for many years, including the fact when he quit on the New York Jets back in 2000. Remember, the New York Jets tried to hire Bill Belichick after Bill Parcells retired on him, and Bill Belichick initially accepted the job before he quit on those guys one day into the job. When Bill Belichick had a press conference for his introduction to being the Jets head coach, Bill Belichick effectively resigned on those guys. He commented about how it was time for him to move on, and then he effectively joins the rival Patriots, and the rest is history. The Patriots, they end up winning 6 Super Bowls with Bill Belichick as their head coach, and I found Bill Belichick's comments to be extremely interesting on the ManningCast, because obviously Bill Belichick has never had interest in the Jets. Quite frankly, I felt like Bill Belichick has always tricked the Jets into thinking that he would have interest in them, when in reality, Bill Belichick has never had interest in coaching for the Jets. I've heard some rumors that Bill Belichick would be interested in coaching for the Jets in 2025, but Bill Belichick essentially squashed those rumors when he addressed the future of the Jets on the ManningCast yesterday. Bill Belichick talked about how ownership on the Jets is absolutely awful, how they've only won about 30% of their games since 2010, and how they've done nothing but fire coaches year after year after year. Although I don't agree with the part that Bill Belichick said about coaches getting fired all the time, he's not necessarily wrong in the sense that the Jets have not had any stability at the head coach position whatsoever. Now, unlike David Tepper, Woody Johnson is probably too patient with his head coaches more often than not. I mean, he did give Todd Bowles 4 years in New York. That's more than what most coaches would have gotten in New York. I know Todd Bowles is having a lot of success in Tampa Bay right now, but on the Jets, he was not a good head coach whatsoever. He was 16 games under 500 in there. I know he didn't really have a good quarterback in there whatsoever, but if you don't make the playoffs one time in 4 seasons, you're probably going to get fired more often than not, because the NFL stands for not for long. Obviously, Todd Bowles was not producing the results that he needed to produce on the Jets, and they gave Adam Gase 2 years on the Jets. Obviously, Adam Gase deserved to get fired pretty quickly. He was one of the worst head coaches the NFL has ever seen. And then, of course, Robert Saleh got 4 years on the Jets. I know he didn't get to finish his 4th year, but he essentially coached 3 full seasons in 5 games into the 4th season. That's more than what most coaches probably would have gotten. Patience is one of Woody Johnson's biggest strengths. It's not the fact that he fires coaches too quickly. It's the fact that Woody Johnson often picks the wrong head coaches more often than not. And when he does pick a head coach, he doesn't really give them any good material to work with whatsoever. You look at how the quarterback quarterback position is always a mess on the Jets. There's a reason why Ryan Fitzpatrick has been the Jets' best quarterback since 2010. That's because of the fact that they haven't had any stability at the position whatsoever. You can't succeed at the quarterback position when you're constantly changing the position year after year after year. That's the position where the New York Jets have been incredibly impatient. There's a reason why a Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers has been struggling mightily on the Jets. That's because the organization is setting up quarterbacks to fail. Now, could Aaron Rodgers be playing better on the Jets? Absolutely, but they're not exactly surrounding him with great pieces around him. I know he has weapons in New York, but their offensive line is not good whatsoever. They don't really give Aaron Rodgers a lot of time to throw the football inside the pocket. The Jets are 2-4 right now. It seems like they're going to be headed for a top pick in 2025. They've already fired the head coach. They got the interim guy in place. I also want to address about what Bill Belichick said for Robert Saleh. Roll the film.
I'm not a big Jets fan, in case you don't know that. You know, like Fireman Ed, but that's it. But you know what? Coach Saleh did a good job with that program. I mean, he brought in a culture, a level of toughness and competitiveness. You know, unfortunately, the offense, you know, hasn't been what, you know, a lot of quarterbacks last year, and you know, a little bit of a slow start. But I thought Coach Saleh really did a good job with this team, and you know, they're probably not that far away from winning.
Wow, that was strong praise by Bill Belichick for what he had to say about Robert Saleh. He thought Robert Saleh did a good job on the Jets. Now, I hesitate to say Robert Saleh actually did a good job with the organization, but I thought Robert Saleh did an okay job on the Jets, at least in the beginning of his tenure. But it's not exactly like Robert Saleh was lighting the world on fire. The reason why I hesitate to say that Robert Saleh was doing a good job on the Jets was because he piled up double-digit losses every single year when he coached a full season for the Jets. In his first year, the Jets went 4-13. That's not good. I understand they were in rebuilding mode, so I'll give a pass to Robert Saleh for year one. But then in year two, they improved to 7 wins. Okay, I guess that's fine, considering the fact that Zach Wilson sucked at the quarterback position. But then, of course, in year three, even though Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in game one, you don't really improve whatsoever, despite the fact that your general manager tried to improve the roster greatly. They end up going 7-10 again. He probably should have been fired after year three, but obviously the Jets give him a 4th year, and then they fire him 5 games into the season. I don't like the way how the Jets treated Robert Saleh on the way out. I thought it was classless. I thought they should have let him address the team on the way out, but it is what it is at this point. It's not like Robert Saleh was some legendary head coach. Robert Saleh struggled to make adjustments in game. It was just time to make a change for the New York Jets. But as far as Bill Belichick putting the New York Jets on blast, good job to Bill Belichick for doing that. That's another dub take for Bill Belichick when talking to the media. The Jets are one of the worst run organizations in all of football. The only organizations that are ran worse than the Jets right now are the Browns and Panthers, but those two teams are historically awful at running the organization. The reason why I say the Browns in there is because they gave a potential sexual predator $230 million fully guaranteed. I mean, of course, you know the story in Carolina. They got an owner that tries to become the next Jerry Jones, when in reality, he's just trying to become a dumber version of Dan Snyder. But that's neither here nor there. I'm here to talk about the Jets, not the Panthers. Obviously, the Jets have been one of the biggest losers in the entire NFL since 2010. There's a reason why they have the longest playoff drought in all of football, and that's because their ownership does not know what they're doing whatsoever. Woody Johnson needs to get a grip on his football team, because if he doesn't get a grip on his football team, people are going to yell even louder for Woody Johnson to sell the team. That's the reality of the situation. So that is why I was not surprised that Bill Belichick blasted the Jets publicly, as they are one of the worst run organizations in all of football. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking. Like the video and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I'm going to shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DusNastran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DusNastran, and that's Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DusNastran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.